Perfect timing. You have joined us for part 3 of our Highlands Ranch walkthrough, zip by zip. If you happen to be joining us for the first time, you haven't missed a thing. You can catch up on those videos up here. And if you've been following along, so glad you are here for our final installment. You all know I love Highlands Ranch. I spent 10 years here. We raised our kids from babies here. People ask me all the time to help them pick the best part of Highlands Ranch to raise their own family here. And I just can't pick a favorite. But hopefully, as we have walked through the last 2 zip codes and as we march through 80130 today, it will help you parse out maybe which one of these zip codes you might want to focus on a little bit more, or if you're gonna end up like me and just say you love all of it. In case you're catching the last video first, let's catch you right up on how Highlands Ranch is laid out zip code by zip code. There are just 3 zip codes that cover the area. 80126, 80129, and 80130, but they are not oriented numerically. 80129 is over on the west edge. 80126 is the heart of Highlands Ranch. And 80130, which we're talking about today, is the east edge of Highlands Ranch. As you can see in this map, by far 80130 is the smallest zip code for Highlands Ranch. It just does not cover nearly as much territory as the other 2 zips do. It does still, however, deliver some big perks. The pluses to being on this side of Highlands Ranch are really oriented around the conveniences of getting out of Highlands Ranch. It's a fast drive to Charles Schwab. It's a quick commute over to Skyridge Hospital. It's a short drive over to Meridian, where there are several tech company headquarters. The commute to DTC is certainly not bad. In terms of conveniences for shopping, like Sam's Club, Costco, Park Meadows for retail or dining is so close and easy to get to. And this side of Highlands Ranch just has the easiest access to I-25 for all things northbound and southbound. So it's possible that maybe one of the family commutes into Denver or one of the family commutes down to Colorado Springs. We do see that. Either way, you've got good access to I-25. And just like every other zip code, there is a rec center over here. 80130 is home to the South Ridge Rec Center. We've had a lot of townhome options to talk about in the last 2 videos, but that's not the case over here in this side of Highlands Ranch. There are really just a couple of townhome options. However, 2 of the 3 are incredibly popular. The 3 options are Settlers Village, Palomino Park, and Gleneagles Village. Palomino Park starts us off on our tour. It's right up here at the top of the map where Quebec and 470 meet at the north part of 80130. It is a gated both for sale and for rental community. And it is incredibly popular because of all the amenities that are offered in there. Now, with amenities usually comes a higher HOA, and that is true in here. But there is a clubhouse, a pool, a fitness center, green space, social activities. As you're walking through the maintained trails and green space, you can catch some mountain views. The floor plans that are offered include some main floor living options as well as multi-story, so you can have your bedrooms up on a 2nd level if that makes you feel more secure. And then just a little bit south and tucked in all among the golf courses is this Gleneagles Village. It is a 55+ community. As I've mentioned, there aren't that many of those. This one's popular because it is all about the golf lifestyle. Nearly every single one of these townhomes is going to back up to the golf course. Some of these have been remodeled and some of them have not, but they are ripe for a great remodel. And the footprint gives ample living space. Most of them have basements that can be finished out to add to some living space, but everything is really designed for main floor living. As we move back over to Quebec and come south, we look at this row of houses over here. They are bounded by Quebec, and then this green belt, you may not be able to see it, but there's kind of this break. This break actually has a large row of high tension power lines that runs through it. So it is a little bit of an interesting niche of homes in here. They are part of Highlands Ranch. Some of the homes in here are great. There's not really a neighbor behind. You don't hear a ton of road noise. You don't have a strong line of sight of power lines, but finding one of those is the harder part. Usually you hear a lot of road noise and or you see power lines. So this neighborhood can be a little bit harder to find exactly what most of you might be looking for. Across the street is what I call the collegiate neighborhood. Most of the streets in here are named after Ivy League schools. The homes are large, they are lovely, but many of them were built in the 80s, early 90s, and so a full update is needed for most of them. What that does mean is you're getting a lot of footprint for a decent value. And if you have an eye for design, you know what you want, you don't like what people have been doing for the last 10 years, which is predominantly an all-white kitchen with white or gray accents, then you have something here that you can absolutely put your fingerprint on. Continuing south down Quebec once we get past the post office. Oh, I did not mention the post office as being a perk for this area. There is a kind of outpost post office all the way on the other side of Highlands Ranch to add to convenience. But if you send a lot of things, have a business that needs to use the post office, it is so nice to have it so close. Anyway, just south of there, we have a neighborhood off the Glenstone streets. It's called East Ridge Point. A lovely neighborhood, nice sized homes. I was first introduced to this neighborhood when our kids were so small. There was this family in here. They would decorate for Christmas in the most creative way. Right now, people kind of do the like mega lights and they often time it to music and kind of that sort of thing. But this family had a pole and they had Santa with his reindeer and kind of he would circle it. And then they had a roller coaster with teddy bears and it was so fun. And the dad and daughter used to do it together. So when the daughter went to college, they stopped. Most of Highlands Ranch was mourning after they stopped doing it. It was really such a fun thing. So this neighborhood, for a lot of us, actually comes with memories, but it's a wonderful neighborhood. There is an elementary school in here. There is a little bit of open space, so kind of a green belt that runs between some of the homes. It does give you a little bit of space between neighbors. I find homes in here tend to sell quickly, particularly the ones that are set far enough back from the road that there's no road noise. And the ones that have been updated, those get snatched up extra fast. As we keep moving down Quebec, we actually come to a set of neighborhoods that aren't part of Highlands Ranch. They actually aren't even part of the 80130 zip code. This is 80124. This section and the stuff that is to the east of here falls into 80124. Most of this becomes Lone Tree. This section is just unincorporated. These folks here do not get to use the Highlands Ranch rec centers for free, at least most of them. There are a few houses that somehow got bought in, but most of these folks have to pay if they're gonna go to the Highlands Ranch rec centers. When we hit this corner of MacArthur Ranch Road and Wildcat, we see the one spot of brand new construction in Highlands Ranch. They're pretty much sold out now, Canyon Village. Taylor Morrison snatched up this spot. They actually had to kind of finagle to be part of Highlands Ranch. Their HOA kind of encompasses the access to Highlands Ranch because they don't pay to HRCA, the Highlands Ranch HOA that everyone else does. But you do get access to the amenities. As you can see by their location, they are on a well-traveled intersection and they are right across from one of the high schools. As we head west from here, we get into the Hearth territory. Now, I have talked in the last two videos about how we don't really have neighborhoods with strong demarcations. You may drive into a neighborhood and not even know it has a name. That is not true for most of the Hearth. Shay developed the Hearth, and then you drive into most parts of the Hearth, you're actually going to see a fireplace that glows at night. I mean, they put a lot into these neighborhoods. They're beautiful. Shay built the Hearth just as they built Firelight, which is over in 80126. The Hearth is both on the south side of MacArthur Ranch Road and on the north, and it extends and stretches over to some really lovely open space lots that go past the Southridge Rec Center. There are a lot of open space opportunities, particularly on the south side of the Hearth. And right now, those homes generally sell over $1.1 million. I think if you found a home at 1.1 on open space, that would be a steal of a deal. Once we get to Southridge Rec Center and go just a little bit farther, we get back over to that shopping center where the King Soopers and the Starbucks are. I mentioned this one in the 80126 video. So this would be a border where 80126 and 80130 meet. This area north of the grocery store and running all the way up Wildcat is a variety of homes. Right here at this intersection north of the grocery store, there are some older homes in here. There are some very small, cozy tri-level homes. They have great light, the ceilings are vaulted, but they are certainly tiny. I mean, you come in from the garage, you've got a little half bath, and then you take some steps and you go to a little living room area, and you take some steps and you go to another little living room and a tiny kitchen, and you take some more steps and you go to some bedrooms. So it's got that kind of multi-split level layout. Then if you go up just a few more streets, you'll run into these large homes with brick facades and great front porches. They're just beautiful. They still need to be updated inside. Everything over here, unless the previous owner's already done it, usually can use a little TLC. As you're driving around, you'll even run across some homes that have lovely glass block windows that certainly tip their hand to the age and the era in which they were built. As we finish our drive up Wildcat Reserve, we stop at East Ridge Rec Center, which is technically in the 80126 zip code. However, 80130 is the eastern zip code to Highlands Ranch, so a large portion of 80130 is East Ridge. These zones of North Ridge, West Ridge, East Ridge, South Ridge, which we haven't talked about, as I've mentioned before, are not well-defined areas. They're just general directional areas of Highlands Ranch. South Ridge area is part of 80126 and part of 80130, and it would encompass more of the newer section, the newest construction in Highlands Ranch. So again, if it's covering 2 zip codes, it's certainly not a defined area in the community. With the smaller size of this zip code, it probably won't surprise you that there are fewer parks that Highlands Ranch maintains over here. There are just 6 Highlands Ranch maintained parks in 80130. All right, so what do the stats look like for this zip code? Over the past 90 days, the average sales price is $688, and the price range has been $495 to $1,050,000. When we look at the last 3 years, here's where the medians are for lot size, home size, etc. 12% of the homes have been a bi-level, tri-level, multi-level style. 11% have been a ranch style. This is the most we've seen in any of the 3 zip codes. And that leaves 77% being a 2-story. The median lot size over here is the same as we saw over in 80129. It's 6,000 square feet for a median lot size. And the median home size for total square footage is 3,025 square feet. So when I talk median home size, I am talking basement included for all of these, okay? Now let's look back at stats for all 3 zip codes. Some of the things I notice here. The largest homes tend to be in the heart of Highlands Ranch, as do the priciest ones. We talked about this in that video. It's because that's where the luxury homes and the gated communities are. The smaller homes tend to be in West Ridge, but look at what you get in East Ridge in 80130. The median total square feet is over 3,000 square feet, and the median price is the lowest of all 3 areas. So this is saying you might have more opportunity to get more home for your money over in East Ridge. Yeah, don't take that for gospel truth. I have a client who is over by West Ridge in walking distance to the rec center. That's where they wanted to be. They wanted to have access for themselves and their kids to be able to just run off and get into the rec center really close to the middle school and high school. They got their house for $560. And they just did that. This wasn't like pre-COVID, pre-inflation era. This just happened for them. So there are other hidden gems and great deals to be found. And if your idea of the perfect home is a large home with mountain views, I certainly have some neighborhoods in mind for you. Backcountry is of course going to come to mind, but there are several others that are spinning around in my head that I would love to share with you. And if your perfect home is one with mature trees, a great lawn, something that just feels warm and cozy and inviting, I absolutely have about 3 or 4 options that I would love to let you know about. All the videos from this series are linked in this playlist. If you want to chat specifically about some questions around Highlands Ranch, how it compares to other parts of South Denver, let's connect. I would love to chat with you. I'll see y'all next week.